Hello there and welcome to my guide for painting the Marvel Zombies version of the Vulture. First thing I've done is sprayed them with some matte white spray from Colourforge. And then I'm going to use some Cerebite green to paint his bodysuit. And this I'm going to give a wash with some Beltan green. Once that wash has dried, I'm then going to relay the Cerebite green, making sure I avoid any of the recesses. And this will then be followed by a 50-50 mix of Cerebite green and matte white for the highlight. For the wings, I'm going to give them a base coat of moot green, which I'll then wash with some Athonian camo shade. While that dries, I'm then going to paint the zombie version of the Vulture's Vulture that's on the base with some Abaddon black. Its head, however, will get painted with some Skaven Blight dinge. Once the wash has dried on the wings, I'm going to bring the colour back with some more moot green by dry brushing it in. This will be followed by another dry brush, but this time it's a 50-50 mix of moot green and matte white. Then the same mix, but in a 70-30 ratio in favour of matte white, and just mostly on the very tips. Then I'm going to use Eshin Grey to dry brush the Vulture, and Storm Vermin Fur for its head. To make his head stand out a little bit more, I'm going to use a 50-50 mix of Storm Vermin Fur and matte white. Next, I'm going to use Wraithbone to paint the collar. And I'll wash that with some Army Painter Soft Tone. And once that's dried, I'll give it a quick dry brush again with some Wraithbone. And this will be followed by a 50-50 mix of Wraithbone and matte white. I'll then paint the zombie skin with some Rakarth flesh. And I'll use Cadian Flesh Tone for the human version. Then both these will get a wash with some Reichland Flesh Shade. Once that wash has dried, I'm then going to use a very small amount of Carroburg Crimson in the sockets of the zombie vulture. To do the human vulture's eyes, I'm going to use some Abaddon black, followed by matte white, and then finally Abaddon black again for the pupils. For the zombies version eyes, it's just a little dot of Fire Dragon Bright. Then moving on to the human version skin, I'm going to use some Cadian Flesh Tone. This will be followed by a 50-50 mix of Cadian Flesh Tone and Kislev Flesh. And then lastly, Kislev Flesh just by itself. For the zombie version, it's going to be a little bit of thinned down Flayed One Flesh, followed by some Pallid Witch Flesh. I'm then going to paint the teeth with some matte white. I'm going to use a little bit of XV88 on the vulture's beak. And the highlight will be a 50-50 mix of XV88 and Tau Light Ochre. Now for the bases, for the traffic light, I'm going to use some Avalanche Sunset. Then for the pole, I'm going to use some Iron Hands Steel. I'll then give the traffic lights a quick wash with some Cassandra Yellow. While that dries, I'm going to paint the rest of the base with some Dawnstone, as it's pretty much nothing but rock. Then I'm going to highlight the traffic lights with some Flash Kits Yellow. This is just an edge highlight. And I'll paint the red light with some Mephiston Red. The yellow will get painted with Dawn Yellow. And the green will get painted with Warpstone Glow. I'll then do a 50-50 mix of Mephiston Red and matte white for the highlight on the red. A 50-50 mix of Dawn Yellow and matte white for the yellow. And then a 50-50 mix of matte white and Warpstone Glow for the green. Then I'm going to dry brush all of the Dawnstone with some Grey Seer. Next I'm going to paint the rims of the base with some Abaddon black. And then finally give the base a wash with some watered down Agrax Earthshade. There is one final step if you want to do it though. This is an optional choice. I'm going to use some blood for the blood god just to make the zombie version a little bit gory. This is around the hands and around the mouth. And with the gore added, that's these guys finished. I have to say, absolutely wonderful models. I really did enjoy painting these guys, even though personally I don't particularly like painting green. But for some reason these guys were lots of fun. Not only were they fun, they were also quite quick to paint as well, only coming in around about 3 hours for the pair. If you watch this video and you use this guide, I really do hope you found it useful. And if you want to see more, there's plenty more of Marvel Zombie stuff on the channel, so give me a subscribe, give the video a like, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you again, and goodbye for now.